Welcome, everybody. I'm here to kick us off. I'm Ismael Guerrero, the Executive Director of the Denver Housing Authority, and it's great to have everybody here, such a distinguished group, folks who've been working hard on this, here to help us kick off a great event. As you'll soon hear, this is an announcement that we have been hoping for, we have been working toward, and anticipating for several years now. It's a special, let me start off first by offering a special, warm, sunny welcome, Denver welcome to my good friend and colleague, Lourdes Castro Ramirez, who's the Principal Deputy Secretary. Welcome to Denver and to Sun Valley. I would say it's usually a good day when our friends from HUD in DC pay us a special visit. They always bring good news, which we're excited about. I also want to acknowledge, as I start, all of the DHA staff who are here today. So if our staff, if you could raise your hand if you're part of the DHA team, and also and especially to our leadership, the DHA Board of Commissioners. I saw several of you here as well. So if you're one of our commissioners, if you can also raise your hand. I tell you, it's days like today when I'm especially excited to be the Executive Director of the Housing Authority. And I want to acknowledge that we have probably the best Housing Authority team in the country right here. And that's proven out because if not for their dedication and hard work and passion, we wouldn't have days like today. So thank you all for that. So why are we here today? Well, we're here today because so many of you, our residents, our community partners, our agency and nonprofit partners here in the neighborhood, we have spent hours, months, years working on this initiative. And because you believed in yourselves, you believed in each other, and most importantly, you believed in the community here, that we are able now to turn the vision and your dreams into a reality. We're here today to share some really good news about the next steps in the transformation of the Sun Valley neighborhood. As you know, this isn't just about housing. Although housing is core and it's central to what the Denver Housing Authority does, obviously, and part of the work that we start here today is the transformation of our Sun Valley public housing community. As always, we're committed to one-for-one replacement of the public housing units that are here, but also, and more importantly, to creating a more vibrant, diverse, mixed-income community. And the DHA real estate team and our housing management team and resident services team are all ready to engage with our residents and the community in that transformation plan. But this plan and the Choice Neighborhood program is more than just about housing. It's about the neighborhood and it's about the people here. And we have a neighborhood plan that's going to bring some critical improvements to this and investments in the neighborhood around jobs, around safety and economic development. I want to thank and acknowledge our partners at the Office of Economic Development, and also who will be the lead on that effort, but also partners like Ink Monster, the Earthlinks, Glenn's Kitchen, Ready Foods, and many others in the business district community that are going to be part of that neighborhood investment. In addition to housing and neighborhood improvements, the plan also really focuses on the people in Sun Valley, and in particular, our children and the youth here, with a very comprehensive cradle-to-career strategy. And I want to acknowledge some of our partners in that effort, which include the Sun Valley Youth Center, Mile High Montessori, Catholic Charities, Metro State University, and many others, too numerous to name. And obviously our lead in some of those efforts, the Denver Public School District. So thank you for that partnership. And in order to effectively manage this very comprehensive effort, we've launched the Sun Valley Eco District to act as our master developer project manager. You all know Chris Parr, who I saw here, always on the sidelines in the background, but Chris has been, with the rest of the team, spending a lot of time, and he'll be leading that effort for the transformation of the Sun Valley. And the vision here is more than just neighborhood transformation. It's really an eco district vision, which includes not only the housing, the neighborhood, and the people plan, but also a district-wide renewable energy and water management plan that's going to make this neighborhood one of the most resilient and sustainable in the country. And we want to thank our partners at the EPA, at NREL, and Xcel Energy, among others, for their contributions and their continued collaboration on that effort. So as you can see, just from all the acknowledgments, and I could be here, standing up here for much longer, talking about all the people who've been involved to date. But it really does take a village to believe in and rebuild the Sun Valley neighborhood. This will be Denver's next best neighborhood. I promise you that. So with that, let me start off with our program and our distinguished speakers. First of all, let me welcome a very special friend of DHA who's very familiar with the Sun Valley neighborhood from his time as superintendent for Denver Public Schools. Without the great support that he provided in DC, along with the rest of our congressional delegation, we really would not be here today to be able to celebrate this announcement. So let me welcome our newly re-elected Senator Michael Bennett.
Well, good morning, everybody. Let me start by saying what an absolute joy it is to be home again. I love Colorado, and you can't beat the weather. Ishmael, I can't tell you how grateful I feel as a resident of Denver for your leadership and the leadership of Denver Housing. The minute that you walked into the office with the proposal that now has led to this federal grant, I should say probably within the first 3 or 5 minutes, I knew this was something that was worthy of the support of the federal government. And the reason is that it represented, on the one hand, such an incredible partnership of people, many of whom are here today. And I should say Senator Gardner's office is represented by Nicole here today. Congresswoman DeGette's office is represented by Tom. I know they felt the same way I did, that the spirit of cooperation that was underneath the proposal was something that was going to give us a real opportunity to sell. But also, the isolation that this community has felt for so long in Sun Valley is something that for generations has needed to be addressed. And it was something I came to understand when I was superintendent of schools, and we were going school by school by school in 2005 to figure out how to improve opportunities for people, for students all across Denver, rethink our school district, which had been treated for generations as a static enterprise when the community was organic, moving throughout our history. And I can remember when we came to Fairview Elementary, our principal is here today from the school. I can remember the sense that there was so little we could do to network the elementary school because it sat in this neighborhood cut off by roads, cut off by insufficient transportation, in an area of our city, a hollow really, right here in Denver, which had kept the kids in this community. And our kids here, just like our kids everywhere, need to have the benefit of being able to take advantage of everything that Denver needs to offer. And their parents need the opportunity to be able to have the benefit of economic development in their own community here, rather than have to travel great distances through great difficulty to be able to support their families. And that's the promise I see in this. This commitment is long overdue, but the commitment that Ishmael and others have brought is a commitment that's worthy of the community that lives here in Sun Valley, a community that has fought for generations to create the best opportunity for their kids. And now I think they're really going to have the opportunity to do that. It's been a great privilege to have been a small part of that on the federal side. Now comes the hard part, so I congratulate you in advance on what I know is going to be the great implementation of a great vision. Thanks for letting my office be part of it, and I know the rest of the delegation feels the same. And with that, let me introduce, we are really privileged to be joined here with Secretary Ramirez from the Department of, from HUD, Rick Garcia's boss in some respects, although Rick really suffers no bosses, I know that. But she has had such extensive experience in housing in California and in San Antonio, and for her and Secretary Castro, and I should say also, Secretary Castro is not a stranger to Colorado. He has spent so much time visiting here. He understands Denver well. He understands our community well. It's not surprising to me that we were able to get this grant as a result. Madam Secretary, welcome to Colorado, and I'll turn the podium over to you. Or her boss, Rick Garcia.
That's the problem being in my position. You have too many bosses. So good morning to all. Let me echo and acknowledge the great admiration I have this morning for so many of you here in the audience that have dedicated years to the support of bringing this announcement to fruition. I also wanted to acknowledge our Denver School Board members that are here this morning, Happy Haynes, Lisa Flores, and Rosemary Rodriguez. If there's others, I apologize for overlooking you. But we make these big announcements. It's important that we have the big players come from Washington, and I have the honor this morning of introducing our Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public and Indian Housing, Ms. Lourdes Castro Ramirez. Lourdes has been in this position for maybe 2 to 3 years. She's been a fantastic leader for PIH, not only in our region, but throughout the nation. Before coming to HUD, she was a Public Housing Authority leader. She served with the City of Los Angeles Housing Authority, and most recently with the City of San Antonio Housing Authority. So please join me in giving a very warm, dynamic welcome to Lourdes Castro Ramirez as she makes this morning's announcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. And so I'll just make sure that my boss, Secretary Castro, knows that he's still my boss, and Rick Garcia is my colleague. But it's so wonderful to be here. And, you know, I'm going to start off with something that we do at HUD when we celebrate successes, when we celebrate victories. And what we do is when we're gathered with our secretary and our senior team, we all begin to clap, but we start off with a slow clap that builds energy. And so will you please join me in a slow clap? It's terrific to be here in Denver. It's terrific to be here with a colleague who I respect and admire tremendously, your executive director for your local housing authority, Ismael Guerrero. And of course, it's wonderful to be in such great company with Senator Bennett, with Mayor Hancock, with so many dignitaries, and also with the community of Sun Valley and the residents of Sun Valley. It is, my privilege and honor to serve the Obama administration, to work with Julian Castro, to do everything that we can to support these types of efforts, to support reinvesting in neighborhoods that are already doing the hard work. And so at HUD, we call ourselves the Department of Opportunity. We are about not just providing quality access to affordable housing, but we're also about making sure that residents and communities are connected to the types of investments that are necessary for families and communities to prosper. And so it is with great honor and privilege that I stand before you all to recognize the wonderful work that has taken place here in Sun Valley and in Denver, and to announce that given all of your hard work, the great proposal that you all put together, the very expansive and extensive group of partners and agencies that are working on this, the Denver Housing Authority, the City of Denver, the County of Denver, has been selected to receive one of the Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grants, which is a very, it's not an easy process to secure this grant. It's a very competitive process. This year we received over 34 applications. And I guess the question that maybe some of you have is, so how much money, right? So how much money comes in? So the grant is for $30 million. The $30 million grant that will be provided to the Housing Authority, to the City and County of Denver, so that you all can continue doing the good work that you're doing in this community, so that you all can continue expanding housing opportunities, so that you all can continue providing human capital investments, whether it's education, job training, health, and so that you all can continue doing the work of revitalizing this neighborhood that we know is clamoring for revitalization. So we are delighted to see Denver among one of the 5 cities across the country that are receiving these awards. Secretary Castro is in St. Louis doing a press conference similar to this, and also announcing an award to St. Louis. The other 3 cities are Boston, Massachusetts, Camden, and Louisville in Kentucky. So in total, the department is awarding $132 million across the country. And I think that, this sort of demonstration of community, the state, and then the federal coming together is what we all will need as we move into the next few years, right? The local work, the partnerships, what you all have done needs to continue. And please know that at HUD, you have a partner. We're ready to continue the work. And as Senator Bennett said, the hard work begins now, right? It's now about executing and implementing. And I have no doubt that you guys will be very successful. And so it also gives me, of course, great privilege to see that your resident council leader will be speaking. I had the pleasure of meeting Lisa Saenz at a housing conference. And I was really impressed by the level of engagement and involvement from the resident leaders. And so that, again, is a testament to the leadership here from your executive director, from the board, from your mayor, from your senator, and from all of you. So congratulations, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations, Senator. Congratulations, Ismael.
All right, and now it gives me great pleasure to bring up our next speaker, who obviously needs no introduction here, but somebody who really not only gets housing and has made it a top priority, but really understands neighborhoods and the people who live there and how important it is that Denver works for everybody. And with that, let me introduce our mayor, Michael B. Hancock.
Thank you so much. In the words of that great philosopher, who I'm going to miss greatly, Vice President Joe Biden, this is a big deal. This is all, I got to be careful every time I do that joke. Hey, listen, first of all, it's good to be back in Sun Valley. My career started here as part of the staff of Denver Housing Authority, now some 25 years ago. And I used to walk the streets of Sun Valley and work with the residents, train resident leaders, do youth programming. And I know what is kind of the emotional and psychological burden that the residents who live in this neighborhood carry every day. And so today, Madam Assistant Secretary, with our United States government, Department of HUD, and Denver Housing Authority and the City and County of Denver, and all of our partners are saying to the residents, people who call this great neighborhood home, you're worthy and you matter. And I think that's a pretty powerful statement. And I thank you for that. I want to thank my partner and friend who labors in this neighborhood day in and day and night, the councilman who represents this area, the Honorable Paul Lopez, for being here. I also want to join everyone in thanking our senators and their office staff and members of Congresswoman Diane DeGette's office who are here as well. They have been thanked. But I also want to ask you to join with me in thanking the staff at the Denver Housing Authority for their tremendous attention to detail and commitment to a vision for this neighborhood and all the neighborhoods that they serve. Join me in thanking Ismael and his team. Over here to my left, your right, is our illustrious police chief, Robert R.C. White, and of course the commander who works with this neighborhood firsthand. And I want to acknowledge, of course, him as well, and that is Paul Smiling Payson, commander of this division, and Assistant Chief Matt Murray. What does this mean to us? It means 750 new mixed income homes for individuals and families. It means investment in economic opportunity and good prospects for neighborhood residents. It means new parks and open spaces for our children and our families. It means better streets and connectivity with a new street grid. It means more education and learning opportunities for our kids. and deploying new technology, youth programs, and engagement of improved safety, and so much more. I see Rick Padilla, our Director of Housing, here, and all of the office of, I see members of the division of, or department division, I said it right the first time, of Office of Economic Development. All of us at the City of Denver pledge our support and partnership in this. At the end of the day, today, Sun Valley is known publicly and openly as the poorest neighborhood in the city of Denver. Today begins the journey to celebrate the next great neighborhood of the city and county of Denver. So to all of the stakeholders, yes, please give it up. City and County of Denver was there from the beginning. So to all departments, Community Planning Development, Denver Police Department, Public Works, of course DPS has been mentioned, Denver Health, Senator Bennett and our other federal delegation members, to CHAFA. And most people don't realize that this is done in partnership with one of the greatest teams in the National Football League, the Denver Broncos and the Stadium District, and all the nonprofit and funders who've stepped up. We say thank you. And certainly to the local residents, because without them, this vision would not be possible. Welcome to the next great neighborhood in the city and county of Denver. And one of the leaders of that neighborhood is Lisa Saines, who is a resident neighborhood leader in this area. Y'all give it up to the next leader, or the leader of the next great neighborhood of Denver.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor.
Hold on to that, because it's going to move on you. Grab it. It's going to move.
Okay. Well, I just want to say on behalf of the Sun Valley residents, and I can't. I got it. Too short. And this is gonna, well, you know what, I'm just, forget this paper I had prepared, I'm just gonna wing it.
Go for it.
I just want to say thank you to HUD, GHA, the city, and everybody in the community that was involved every step of the way. I never doubted that we would receive this money. I was fortunate enough to go to Washington back in March, and when I came back from there, stepping home off the taxi, I knew from that moment on that Sun Valley was pretty good the way it was, but it could only get better from there. And I just want to say thank you to everybody, my residents, my neighbors, friends, Ink Monster, probably the Sun Valley Youth Center, the Sun Valley Kitchen, Jean from Fresh Start, DPD, District 1, and all the staff from DHA in making this possible. And I know Sun Valley will be better, a better neighborhood, not a better neighborhood, the best neighborhood in the city. So thank you. It can only get better from here.
All right. You heard from just one of our many great resident leaders here. If you're a resident of Sun Valley, could you just quickly raise your hand? Especially, I know I see Asnaki, I see Phil, many others who've been really with us on this 7-year-plus journey. This truly is a community-led, community-inspired vision. If you have a chance after our conference here to see the boards, as I said, we do nothing here without our residents and nothing for, and everything for them. So that's why we're so excited. Also, if you're here and you, over the last several years, have been part of putting the master plan, the vision together, participated in any of our community meetings, groups, can you also raise your hand for me, please? I know that's why, just want you to know, that's why we can't possibly thank everybody here, because we'd be here all day. But it really, we fielded a great team, and that's how we were able to bring this prize home to Denver, which we're super excited about. The last thing let me try to acknowledge a couple other folks. Most importantly, you heard the mayor talk about the Broncos and the Stadium District. They've been fantastic partners, also in envisioning and committing long-term to this neighborhood. And nobody else more so. You've heard them mention in passing, or I mean in different times, but I can't say enough about our partners at the Denver Public School and Denver Public School District for their commitment, for what's happened already at Fairview Elementary, and how excited we are that we're going to have a great school in the neighborhood, and that our kids are going to have the best educational opportunities going forward. So I want to thank Superintendent Tom Boasberg and the whole DPS staff for all their support throughout. So with that, we are wrapping up here, but we have time for questions, and so I'll just open it up there. Otherwise, we will wrap it up.
Can you give us more specifics? The mayor mentioned 750 new homes. Can you talk more about?
Yep. Thank you. So as you heard, the Sun Valley Neighborhood Plan is about a 80-acre redevelopment site. The $30 million Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant allows us really to focus on and preserve the subsidized housing that's here today and do the one-for-one replace that we talked about. Beyond that, there's probably another 1,000+ units that will be built on this in this neighborhood over the next 5 to 10 years. The plan also calls for a new youth hub and youth center. It's an international marketplace are concepts that have been discussed and that we're working on. And as we mentioned earlier, we have a district-wide plan to rebuild the streets, to connect this neighborhood back to the city, to the river, and to the other neighborhoods in West Denver. We have plans for a district energy and water management system that'll be state-of-the-art, very sustainable, and working toward our net zero goals, as we have in other parts of the city. So those are all other elements of it. In total, somewhere between $500 and $600 million we expect to be investing in this neighborhood over the next 5 to 10 years.